You know, some moments in history are like a fork in the road, right? One decision and the future just splits into two completely different realities. Well, in the world of football, one of those moments, a huge one, happened back in 2009. We're gonna dive into a massive what if. What would football even look like today if Cristiano Ronaldo had never left Manchester United? Let's get into it.
Okay, so picture it, the year is 2009. The news breaks, and it sends absolute shockwaves through the entire sport. Cristiano Ronaldo, the undisputed king of Old Trafford, is leaving Manchester United to go to Real Madrid. I mean, this wasn't just a player changing clubs. It was the end of a massive era and the explosive start of a whole new one.
But that's the question that still hangs in the air, doesn't it? What if he'd stayed? What if that massive world record deal just fell through? How would that one single decision totally rewrite the last 15 years of football history? That's exactly what we're here to unpack. To really get the scale of him leaving, you have to remember just how unbelievably dominant Manchester United and Ronaldo were at that exact moment. They weren't just a good team, not by a long shot. They were an empire, and they were at the absolute peak of their powers. And you gotta understand the context here. This wasn't some up-and-coming player looking for a bigger stage. No. By 2008, Ronaldo was already the undisputed apex predator of the football world. He'd already climbed the mountain. He was the best. I mean, his reign was absolute. In 2008, he lifts the Ballon d'Or and the Champions League trophy. Then, by 2009, he secured another Premier League title. He had completely conquered England and all of Europe with United. It really felt like there was nothing left for him to prove there.
And he wasn't doing it alone, not even close. Just look at this lineup. Sir Alex Ferguson had built what was arguably the most feared team in all of Europe. He had Rooney, Tevez, Giggs, Scholes. This was a dynasty. So the key thing to remember is he left a team that was already standing on top of the world.
So the transfer goes through, and immediately that first huge ripple effect starts to spread out, sending two of the biggest clubs in the world down completely opposite paths.
80 million pounds. That was the world record fee. Now, today, that number might not sound as crazy, but back then, it was an absolutely astronomical sum. It was a massive power shift in European football. This wasn't just a price tag. It was Real Madrid making a huge statement.
And the results? They were immediate, and they were stark. For Real Madrid, it was the beginning of a new golden age. It led to 4 Champions League trophies, with Ronaldo becoming their all-time top scorer. But back in Manchester, well, the empire started to crumble. Sir Alex Ferguson eventually left, their dominance in England was over, and a really long period of struggle began.
But the impact of this move went way beyond just two clubs. The second ripple created something that would pretty much define modern football, a rivalry for the ages that, in our alternate timeline, might have never even happened.
I mean, really think about that for a second. The iconic clashes between Real Madrid and Barcelona, Ronaldo versus Messi, that entire spectacle was a direct result of this one transfer. Without it, the most legendary El Clasico era, the one that had billions of us glued to our screens, it just vanishes. It really was a perfect domino effect. No transfer means no head-to-head El Clasico rivalry. And without that constant, direct competition week in, week out, does the greatest of all-time debate ever get that intense? Does football's social media explosion, which was fueled by that very debate, happen in the same way? The whole culture of the sport looks completely different. All right, so let's zoom out even further. The final wave from this what if takes us beyond just club football and into a completely different football universe, all the way up to the international stage.
Yeah, you heard me. Could this one club transfer have actually changed the destiny of the biggest prize in sports, the World Cup? It sounds a little crazy, I know, but when you think about it, the logic is actually there.
Just think about the two different paths. If Ronaldo stays in the Premier League, his game probably develops a little differently, right? It's a more physical league. Maybe he avoids the incredible intensity and pressure of a decade of El Clasicos. Could that have meant less long-term fatigue? Maybe it would have allowed him to hit his absolute peak for Portugal at an earlier World Cup. It's a fascinating thought, isn't it? An earlier peak for his national team could have completely rewritten football history as we know it. A World Cup trophy for Portugal changes everything about his legacy and that eternal debate with Messi.
So, all of this brings us to our conclusion. After tracing all these ripples, from the fate of two clubs to the GOAT debate, all the way to the World Cup itself, we are left with one big final question. Because at the end of the day, this was never just about a player changing teams. This single transfer literally created the Messi versus Ronaldo era. It turned El Clasico into a global must-see event, and it basically poured rocket fuel on football's social media fire.
For Ronaldo, for United, for Real Madrid, and for football itself, was it the right decision? Is the world we got better than the one we might have had if he just stayed put?
And that's where I'm going to turn it over to you. What do you think? Would staying at United have meant more trophies, maybe a stronger legacy for the club? Or was the move to Madrid, the one that gave us a decade of an unforgettable rivalry, the right call for history? Let us know what you think.